Scandal in Bohemia, and the Red-Headed League. We're jumping right into this.
Here we go.
All right, what's going on? Welcome back to another book review. We're really pumping these out here. My name's Jesse, and this is the Undercover Book Nerd. What's going on? Today we're going to do Sherlock Holmes. We're going to do the short stories, 2 short stories. We're going to do Scandal in Bohemia and the Red-Headed League. I mean, they're short, 1 chapter long. They're about an hour if you do the audiobook, hour a piece. But they're really good. I mean, this is some of the best short stories you could ever read. Alright, let's jump right into it. And I want you to remember, you got to keep this in mind. This stuff is written, 100 years ago? Easy? So, keep that in mind, okay? He is the originator of the crime series, okay? Alright, let's jump in it. We'll do Scandal in Bohemia first. This has got to be one of my favorites. Here's a quick synopsis. Sherlock and Watson, they're already friends at this point. This isn't like the BBC series. That's The Study in Scarlet, or a version of The Study in Scarlet. This is after that has already happened, okay? The King of Bohemia comes in. He acts like he's a duke or some kind of other lower officer, but obviously Sherlock sees right through that. I mean, I really like that first scene where they're talking about the paper. What do you notice about the paper? And Watson's like, okay, it looks like maybe it's a watermark. And Sherlock's like, no, it's the German company or something like that. So it shows you right off the bat that Sherlock's like 6 steps ahead of this already, you know. So when the king gets here, they mention Irene Adler, and then you start to think, okay, wait, this is the first time Irene Adler's been in the picture, okay? It's not like the movie where Irene Adler's already a thing and he's already in love with her or whatever, right? King of Bohemia has some letters and a picture with him and Irene Adler in it, and he needs to get him back. He gives a few examples of how they have tried to rob Irene and they can't get it back. Sherlock is thinking this is going to be an easy problem. Okay, he's not worried about this at all. The king's trying to tell him, like, hey man, Irene Adler is a formidable opponent. And Sherlock's not, he's taking it pretty easy, okay? He thinks he's got this in the bag. That's going to be it for the synopsis. Okay, we're going to jump right into the spoilers right now. So if you're not ready, get ready. Okay. Alright, let's jump into it. The plan that Sherlock has, actually, let's start with when he goes to scope it out. He goes to scope it out at first. He goes as a cabbie. He goes to scope it out. He shows up, you know, he kind of looks around. He finds out that Irene's with a new guy, and then he follows her and the new guy to a church, and it turns out they're getting married. And he's sitting in the church, and there's nobody else there. So they grab him, and he's the best man. He's the best man of the wedding, right? That's great. And they give him a copper, and he's like, I'm going to wear it on my watch chain. You know, like, so he realizes that Irene's married, okay? So he's like, okay, this is great. Because now this picture is a double-edged sword now, okay? So he comes up with this great plan. I really like this plan. It's really clever. And you don't understand what the plan is at first. The way that he lays it out is he gives you all the things he's going to do, but he doesn't tell you why until after he's already done them. So he tells Watson, okay, Watson, look, this is what you're going to do. You're going to throw this plumber's bomb. It's like something you use to clear drains or something. You throw this plumber's bomb on, and then you want to throw it in the window, and then I want you to yell the cry of fire. He said, can you do that? No problem. So they show up at Irene Street, and it's like this big festival going on or something. It's kind of like a farmer's market type thing. Well, there's lots of people there. Sherlock goes to open her door. He falls down. He looks like he's hurt. Irene goes, yes, let me take him into my house. I want him to be okay. And that's when Watson can drop the plumber's bomb in. So he drops the bomb and he cries fire. And the crazy thing is, it cuts to Sherlock walking out down the street to Watson. He's like, did you find what you wanted to find? She's like, she showed me. How'd you get her to show you? When I threw the bomb in there, the first thing a woman would do, a married woman grabs for her child when she thinks her house is on fire. An unmarried woman grabs for her most important, valuable possession. So Irene, most valuable possession was the picture with the King of the Bohemia. So she shows him it was behind a like false door in the wall or whatever. And I really enjoy that because it's like playing on the human emotions of, like natural reactions. I feel like that probably would work too, I hate it when like crime shows try to outsmart somebody, but it's like feasibly impossible. Like, why would you go for that, right? But this makes a whole lot of sense. So they head back to their flat, and Irene shows up. Well, you don't know it's Irene yet, but somebody walks by and says, "Have a good night, Sherlock Holmes." And it turns out it was Irene in guy's clothes. Genius. Like, it just shows you how smart she is, right? So Sherlock doesn't know this. Sherlock and Watson get the King of Bohemia and go, "Look, we're going to go there tomorrow. We're going to retrieve this thing." So they show up, and the maid is there, and she's like, "Are you Sherlock Holmes?" And Sherlock Holmes looks shocked. And Sherlock Holmes is never shocked, okay? He does the shocking. Nobody shocks Sherlock Holmes. Okay, so he looks shocked. "What do you mean?" "Well, my lady has left town with her husband, never to return." And he busts through the door, and he goes to open up the false panel behind the door to find a note. And the note says, "Dear Sherlock Holmes," and it runs like, "I'd been warned about you a couple months prior, and after I told my husband that we decided the best thing to do is to flee after being pursued by such a formidable opponent." Right? That's really classy. I like that a lot. And that's pretty much where it ends right there. And then at the very, very end of this short story, Sherlock goes, "Hey, I want that picture of Irene Adler." And that's what starts the whole Irene Adler kind of romance thing. You can't say Sherlock loves her, because Sherlock he doesn't believe in love, okay? He believes in science and logic. He doesn't believe in human emotions unless he's using them to exploit to get to what he wants. Sherlock doesn't love anybody. He likes Irene Adler a lot, right? Don't get me wrong, a lot. But he likes her more because she provides a challenge for him. So that's why. I like the movie a lot, Sherlock Holmes, but it romanticizes Irene Adler a little too much for me, because that's just not how Sherlock is. He's a logical machine. One of the first short stories you read, it tells you about how he is a mechanical mind, a logic based mind. He doesn't believe in emotions. So that'll wrap it up for Scandal in Bohemia. Let's jump into Red-Headed League. I don't want to make these too long. They are short stories after all. Quick synopsis. There's a red-headed pawnbroker, right? He comes in and talks to Sherlock. Okay, you jump into this halfway. You got to remember, all the Sherlock Holmes books are written from Watson's perspective. Watson is basically how do you say it? Maybe no. Chronicalizing? No, that's not the right word. He's writing down all the events of Sherlock Holmes' storied career, right? And he shows up. They're midway through the description already. Sherlock asks him to stop, redo all of what he said before. So basically what happened is, he gets asked to join, or he gets pushed by his assistant, who is John Clay, to join the Red-Headed League. What this is a thing that an American started. Well, us Americans start everything, right? Americans started that basically will give you 30 pounds a month or something like that if you do some remedial tasks that don't really matter. You have to have a proper red hair, like proper red, like red. Okay, so basically he goes to this thing. There's like a line of 500 guys with red hair. He gets in. He gets picked for the job. There's only one spot. He gets picked for the job. Okay? He goes for like a month or something. And then the Red-Headed League disappears. It no longer exists. And he goes to Sherlock to seek for help. And that's the beginning of the Red-Headed League. Okay, the rest of this is going to be spoiler. Okay? You have been warned. Alright, let's jump into it. The Red-Headed League If it's not my favorite, it's one of my favorites for sure. It's right up there. I like the Scandal in Bohemia. It's really great. It's real candy, you know. You can eat it anytime. Whereas this is like a 4-course meal right here, you know. Like this, you got to be ready to absorb a lot of things really fast. Because it's a short story, but it's really deep, okay? It's really deep. You'll get caught drowning if you're not paying attention. Okay, Red-Headed League here. We're jumping in this real quick. Short story, we're going to go through this. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. The Red-Headed League, the pawnbroker gets rused into this Red-Headed League thing just so they can... John Clay is this huge bad guy, okay? He does a whole lot of things, but they're kind of like philanthropy. Like, he's stealing money so he can give it away. He's like Robin Hood, you know? So, basically, they get the pawnbroker. They give him the Red-Headed League thing. First of all, John Clay infiltrates and becomes the pawnbroker's assistant, okay? And then he shows him, hey, look, you got to join this Red-Headed League thing, right? So they can get him out of the office for, you know, multiple hours a day, every day, Monday through Friday. Genius, right? The scene I like the best is when he's talking about how he went to the auditions for the Red-Headed League, and they're like turning everybody away. Everybody's got good red hair. Why are they turning everybody away? Oh, he's always finding this little nitpicky thing that's wrong with him. And then the pawnbroker gets up there, and he's like, that's it, sold, you're it, right? And like, why aren't you getting fishy about this, bro? Like, they've been turning everybody around. They're like, okay, you perfect, right? And then they grab his hair and they pull it really tight, right? They paint him, right? They're like, well, we had to check because we've been fooled by wigs and paint before. And you're like, wait a minute, these guys are really smart, right? Okay, these guys aren't dumb. They're really playing this good. They had 500 people there, him included. They pick him, so he feels really special. Like, oh yeah, I'm loving this. I'm feeling great about this. It makes him not question it. And the way they set it up to where is you only have to be here for 4 hours in the morning. Well, pawnbrokers only start till noon and above, right? Oh, that's perfect for him, right? It's almost like they made it for him. Right? Like, dude, come on, wake up here, right? But these guys are smart, and they set this up perfect, right? Sherlock kind of sees early where this is going, so he goes, okay, wait, how long have you been with your assistant? How smart do you say your assistant is? He's super smart. Okay, did he come for less wages? Yes, he was willing to come for less wages. Bro, what do you mean he's willing to come for less wages? You know what I'm saying? So Sherlock and Watson head out to go look at the pawnbroker's like place of business. They look around. Sherlock's like tapping on the ground and shit, and then he goes up to the door. He knocks on the door and he goes, hey, which way to the bank? I think he goes 2 lefts and a right. And then he closes the door really fast, and Sherlock goes, that's the 4th smartest man in London right there. And Watson goes, oh really? He goes, yes, and I think he might have a chance for 3rd smartest in London. And I don't think Sherlock is actually counting himself in that list, even though he should be number 1. I don't think he's actually counting himself in that list. So you get a feeling like, okay, wait, this is a serious thing. This guy is really smart. He's got a lot of goons with him. So Sherlock gets Watson, and he gets one of the guys from Scotland Yard and another guy from Scotland Yard, or no, the bank manager. And they go to the bank cellar, and they're sitting there, they're camping out. The bank manager doesn't believe him. He doesn't believe that somebody would rob him, nor does he believe that Sherlock Holmes would is on the right track. You know, everybody thinks Sherlock Holmes is a joke, right? So they camp out in the cellar. They camp out in the cellar, and they're getting ready to lay their hands on him, right? So this is getting really tense. They turn off the lights. It's really quiet. It's getting really tense. They hear the guys coming up through the tunnel. They open the door, and then Sherlock jumps on him real fast. And this is the first time you see Sherlock as a physical presence. You know, normally you just see him as a mind, right? You see him, he jumps him real quick, nobody gets shot, because Watson's ready to shoot somebody. If this thing's going sideways, Watson's going to get him. So I really like the fact that you see the physicality of Sherlock Holmes. Even though he is a super smart man, it's important that you see that he's physical as well. So they catch him, and then you can see that John Clay has the respect for Sherlock Holmes, as well as Sherlock Holmes has respect for John Clay as well. So I really enjoy that as well. As far as wrapping up both these, if you want to see more Sherlock Holmes, I mean, I've read so much Sherlock Holmes. I can do more of these. I just wanted to start with 2 short stories. These are the first 2 in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. I think if you haven't read Sherlock Holmes, you should start with these 2. They're really they're like bite size, you know. You really enjoy them. They're definitely more like candy than a 4-course meal, even though Redhead League is a little deeper. So remember, if you liked the video, drop a like, share the video, because us book nerds got to stick together, okay? And you know, leave a comment down below if you like these, and I'm gonna keep pumping them out. And you know, shout out to Gryffindor as well for requesting the Sherlock Holmes. I really appreciate it. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the flip side. Later.